An influencer built an empire on scamming millions with her questionable advice and pseudoscience, hidden under a mask of a polished image and empty promises. But when a fearless creator exposed her fraud in a viral takedown, the fallout was explosive. Desperate to protect her reputation, she tried to silence him with a lawsuit, resorting to unethical practices and leveraging corrupt connections. But as her lies unraveled, a whistleblower's shocking revelations would expose just how far she was willing to go and destroy everything she had built.
Make sure to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any inspiring stories I share.
It all began with a single video. Alex Mason, a satirical influencer celebrated for his sharp wit and fearless critiques, posted a fiery takedown of Sophia Ramirez, a wellness and fitness icon with millions of loyal followers. In the video, Alex dissected Sophia's health advice, which ranged from questionable diet plans to pseudoscientific remedies. With his trademark sarcasm, he quipped, "She's less of a fitness guru and more of a professional performer. Just swap the yoga mat for a stage." The internet erupted. Within hours, Alex's video racked up millions of views, turning him into both a hero and a villain overnight. Fans of his humor flooded social media with memes and jokes, amplifying the video's reach. But not everyone was laughing. Many of Sophia's supporters accused Alex of jealousy and misogyny, framing his critique as a personal attack rather than constructive criticism. Online battles between fans became heated, with hashtags like #TruthHurtSophia and #DefendSophia trending for days. Even mainstream media outlets began covering the story, portraying the feud as the latest flashpoint in the culture wars. Sophia responded swiftly and dramatically. Within days, she released a tearful video, accusing Alex of promoting hatred against her. She claimed his content had led to harassment and even threats from anonymous trolls. In a statement that went viral, Sophia declared, "This isn't just about me. It's about the toxic culture that tears women down for daring to inspire others." She didn't stop at public outrage. She filed a legal complaint against Alex, accusing him of defamation and incitement of violence. What began as a spat over credibility snowballed into a cultural phenomenon. Social media split into factions. On one side were Alex's supporters, who saw him as a crusader for truth, calling out influencers who profited from misinformation. On the other were Sophia's defenders, who viewed her as a victim of cyberbullying and gendered attacks. The drama spilled beyond the confines of social media, grabbing the attention of commentators and legal experts alike. Yet, beneath the spectacle, something more sinister was brewing. Sophia wasn't merely defending her reputation, she was orchestrating a campaign to destroy Alex's credibility. Behind the scenes, her legal team worked tirelessly, preparing evidence to portray Alex not as a critic, but as a dangerous harasser. What no one realized at the time was just how far Sophia was willing to go to protect her pristine image, and how much Alex would have to fight to clear his name. Beneath her picture-perfect persona of empowerment and health, Sophia Ramirez had a side few were privy to, one that didn't shy away from using influence to crush opposition. Her response to Alex Mason's critique wasn't just offensive, it was a calculated counterattack, meticulously crafted to silence him while bolstering her public image. Sophia's first move was to assemble a legal team infamous for their aggressive tactics. These lawyers, well connected to powerful figures in the legal and political arenas, quickly escalated her case against Alex. They filed multiple claims, including defamation, harassment, and intentional infliction of emotional distress. With such serious allegations, Sophia aimed to paint Alex not as a sharp critic, but as a dangerous individual deserving of public scorn and legal penalties. Behind the scenes, whispers of corruption began to emerge. Court documents leaked to investigative journalists suggested that Sophia's team had fast-tracked the case, securing priority over more urgent matters. Anonymous insiders hinted at the use of political favors to pressure the judicial system into scheduling hearings almost immediately, a rare occurrence in cases of this nature. Rumors swirled about favors exchanged behind closed doors, but there was no hard proof, leaving skeptics to speculate. As the case unfolded, troubling evidence surfaced. Sophia's team presented damning screenshots of messages allegedly sent by Alex, portraying him as a violent and abusive harasser. The messages, dripping with vitriol, seemed to validate Sophia's claims. Yet, something about them didn't sit right with the public. Experts began pointing out inconsistencies in the metadata, raising questions about their authenticity. Some independent analysts even claimed the timestamps were manipulated, a detail ignored by mainstream media. Public perception started to shift. While many still rallied behind Sophia, Believing her narrative of victimhood, others began to suspect that her polished image was hiding something darker. Social media threads dissected every detail of the case, with some claiming the screenshots were doctored. This growing skepticism wasn't enough to halt her momentum, but cracks in her carefully crafted narrative were beginning to show. In interviews, Sophia tearfully reiterated her innocence, framing herself as a woman standing up to a culture of online bullying. Her words struck a chord with many, but to her critics, they were another layer of the facade. As she doubled down on her accusations, it became clear, this wasn't just a battle for legal justice, it was a fight for control of the truth itself. Alex Mason wasn't the type to back down from a fight, especially when it came to defending his integrity. As Sophia Ramirez's accusations gained traction, Alex realized this battle wasn't just about a single video, it was about his livelihood, his reputation, and his commitment to holding influential figures accountable. Determined to clear his name, Alex and his legal team embarked on a tireless quest for the truth. The first breakthrough came when a sharp-eyed analyst noticed discrepancies in the metadata of the damning messages Sophia's team submitted as evidence. The timestamps were inconsistent, and certain digital fingerprints didn't align with the platforms they allegedly came from. These discrepancies raised immediate red flags, prompting Alex's team to dig deeper. They hired forensic experts specializing in digital evidence, and their findings were shocking. The messages weren't just fabricated, they were poorly executed fakes. This revelation provided a glimmer of hope. Independent tech bloggers and digital forensics communities began dissecting the evidence online, adding to the mounting skepticism surrounding Sophia's claims. Hashtags like #FakeEvidence and #JusticeForAlex began trending as public sentiment started to shift. Yet, Sophia's legal team doubled down. They dismissed the allegations of tampering as desperate attempts by Alex to evade accountability. The battle was far from over. The turning point came when a whistleblower from Sophia's legal team came forward. In a stunning confession, the former team member leaked internal emails detailing how the evidence had been doctored to incriminate Alex. The leaked documents included step-by-step instructions on altering screenshots, manipulating metadata, and crafting a narrative that would gain public sympathy. Most damningly, the emails revealed that Sophia herself approved these tactics, showing direct involvement in the fraud. These revelations sparked a media firestorm. Outlets that once championed Sophia's victim narrative pivoted to investigative pieces questioning her credibility. Former collaborators, silent out of fear of retribution, began sharing unsettling stories about their experiences with her. Reports emerged of unpaid contracts, threats to ruin careers, and even allegations of physical intimidation against employees who challenged her. As more stories surfaced, a darker picture of Sophia began to emerge. She wasn't just an influencer embroiled in a single controversy, she was part of a much larger system that manipulated public perception for personal gain. Investigative journalists uncovered connections between Sophia and powerful allies who had shielded her from scrutiny in the past, raising questions about how deeply entrenched her influence ran. The backlash on social media was relentless. Hashtags like #SophiaExposed and #InfluencerFraud dominated trending topics. Content creators, analysts, and even former supporters dissected every facet of Sophia's actions. A viral exposé revealed how she had previously used her platform to discredit other critics, showing a long history of leveraging her audience for personal vendettas. It was no longer a matter of one forged case, it was a pattern of deceit that defined her career. Despite the mounting backlash, Sophia clung to her narrative. She dismissed the whistleblower as a disgruntled employee, claiming their accusations were baseless. In tearful interviews, she framed herself as the target of a misogynistic smear campaign, insisting that her only crime was being a successful woman. While some followers remained loyal, others started questioning the integrity of the woman they once idolized. For Alex, these developments were bittersweet. The truth was emerging, but the relentless stress of the legal battle had taken its toll. His mental health suffered, and he faced constant harassment from Sophia's remaining supporters. Yet he pressed on, driven by the belief that the truth would eventually prevail. In court, the whistleblower's testimony proved pivotal. They provided detailed accounts of the strategy Sophia's team employed, including fabricating evidence, suppressing dissenting voices, and leveraging political connections to influence the legal system. When paired with digital forensic evidence, the testimony painted a damning picture. Sophia's team scrambled to defend their case, but their attempts to discredit the whistleblower fell flat. Public opinion coalesced around Alex as more damning evidence against Sophia surfaced. A video interview with one of her former collaborators revealed a chilling pattern. Sophia would actively seek ways to control the narrative, even if it meant crossing ethical and legal boundaries. This revelation solidified Alex's position as a figure fighting against the darker side of influencer culture. By the time the court's final hearings approached, it was clear Sophia's actions went far beyond a petty feud. Her willingness to fabricate evidence, manipulate legal systems, and weaponize public opinion revealed a pattern of behavior that undermined the very principles she claimed to champion. For Alex, vindication was deeply personal, but it also stood as a broader fight against influencer culture's dark side. The court's ruling would be pivotal, not just for Alex and Sophia, but for a society grappling with the blurred lines between authenticity and deception in the digital age. Michael Adams, a well-known actor and former associate of Sophia Ramirez, had been following the case between Alex Mason and Sophia with growing unease. While the court proceedings exposed Sophia's use of fabricated evidence against Alex, Michael knew firsthand that her ability to manipulate and intimidate wasn't limited to one instance. In fact, he had experienced it himself. Michael's history with Sophia was far more personal than Alex's. Years earlier, they had crossed paths in Hollywood, where Sophia's rise to influencer stardom overlapped with Michael's flourishing acting career. Initially, their collaboration seemed harmless, even beneficial. Sophia often appeared in Michael's workout videos and events, leveraging his platform to grow her brand. But as Sophia's popularity surged, her behavior took a darker turn. Michael's involvement with Sophia turned sour when she obtained private, intimate photographs of him through a mutual acquaintance. At first, he dismissed it as an accident, believing the photos had been shared in confidence. That illusion shattered when Sophia used one of the images during a national television appearance, mocking Michael's physique in what she described as a light-hearted joke. Her comments went viral, but for Michael it was no laughing matter. It was an invasion of his privacy. For years, Michael stayed silent. He feared speaking out against someone as influential and connected as Sophia. But seeing Alex endure the same manipulation he had suffered emboldened Michael to take action. Drawing on Law 45, a regulation designed to protect individuals from unauthorized possession and distribution of private content, Michael decided to sue Sophia for violating his rights. The case gained immediate attention, intertwining with Alex's battle against Sophia. While Alex fought to expose the fabricated evidence in his case, Michael's legal team presented damning proof of Sophia's actions. They revealed messages in which Sophia bragged about using the photos as leverage, threatening to release more if Michael ever crossed her. One of the most chilling revelations came from private emails where Sophia mocked Michael, calling him weak for not confronting her sooner. Michael's lawsuit presented an opportunity to highlight another layer of Sophia's misconduct. Unlike Alex's case, which centered on defamation and fabricated evidence, Michael's claim was rooted in privacy law, a topic that resonated deeply in the digital age. His legal team argued that Sophia's actions weren't just unethical, they were illegal. By publicly sharing the photos without consent and weaponizing them as a tool for humiliation, she had crossed a legal boundary. In court, Michael's case gained traction quickly. His lawyers highlighted how the unauthorized distribution of intimate content wasn't just a breach of trust but a violation of fundamental privacy rights. They cited instances where similar cases had led to landmark rulings, emphasizing the need for stricter enforcement of laws protecting individuals from digital exploitation. As the trial unfolded, more people came forward to share their experiences with Sophia. Former employees, collaborators, and even ex-friends testified about her penchant for using private information to manipulate and intimidate. One former assistant described how Sophia would openly boast about her ability to bury anyone who challenged her, often flaunting her connections with high-powered attorneys and media executives. Sophia's legal team attempted to undermine Michael's case, arguing that the photos weren't explicitly damaging and that his lawsuit was motivated by a desire for revenge. But these arguments faltered under the weight of overwhelming evidence. Screenshots of Sophia's messages, audio recordings of her threats, and corroborating testimonies from others painted an undeniable picture of her guilt. Public opinion, already turning against Sophia due to Alex's case, shifted further in Michael's favor. Social media became a hub of support for him, with hashtags like #PrivacyForMichael and #StopSophia trending across platforms. Discussions about digital privacy, influencer accountability, and the misuse of power dominated headlines, sparking widespread debates about the ethical responsibilities of public figures. By the time the judge issued a ruling, the outcome seemed inevitable. The court found Sophia guilty of violating Law 45, determining that her possession and use of Michael's photos constituted an egregious breach of privacy. In a decisive victory for Michael, the judge ordered Sophia to pay substantial damages and issue a formal apology. The ruling also included a clause requiring her to delete any remaining unauthorized content in her possession, signaling a strong stance against digital exploitation. Michael's victory was more than just personal, it was a pivotal moment in the fight for privacy rights. His case set a precedent for how courts could address similar violations in the digital age, giving others the courage to speak out against their own experiences of exploitation. For Michael, it was a chance to reclaim his narrative and shed light on an issue often overlooked in the influencer-driven world. The intertwining of Alex's and Michael's cases created a ripple effect. Their shared adversary, Sophia Ramirez, was no longer seen as an inspirational influencer but as a symbol of the darker side of social media culture. Together, their victories sent a powerful message: no one, no matter how influential, is above accountability. The intertwining cases of Alex Mason and Michael Adams against Sophia Ramirez reached their climactic moment in court. By now, the tide of public opinion had overwhelmingly turned against Sophia, with damning evidence of her deceit laid bare. But no one could predict how far-reaching the consequences of the final verdict would be. As the courtroom filled with journalists, influencers, and supporters of both Alex and Michael, Sophia sat composed, flanked by her legal team. Her lawyers maintained a confident front, continuing to assert her innocence and claim that the mounting evidence was either circumstantial or fabricated by bitter adversaries. But the atmosphere was tense, and even Sophia's most loyal followers began to sense the inevitable. The judge began by addressing the intertwined nature of the two cases. Alex's fight to clear his name and Michael's battle for privacy rights were connected by a single truth: Sophia Ramirez's abuse of power and influence. The court acknowledged the overwhelming evidence of Sophia's misconduct, including fabricated messages, tampered screenshots, and weaponized intimate content. Her repeated attempts to manipulate the legal process further cemented her role as the orchestrator of the chaos. First, the judge addressed Alex's case. After months of testimony, forensic analysis, and witness statements, Alex was fully exonerated. The court concluded that the evidence presented by Sophia's team had been doctored, and her claims of harassment and threats were not credible. This marked a significant victory for Alex, who had endured months of public scrutiny and personal attacks. The court not only cleared his name but also condemned Sophia's actions, labeling them as a deliberate attempt to silence criticism through deceit. Next, the court turned to Michael's case. Sophia's unauthorized possession and public sharing of Michael's intimate photographs were ruled as gross violations of privacy under Law 45. The court found her actions to be intentional, malicious, and emblematic of a larger pattern of manipulation. Michael was awarded substantial damages for emotional distress, and Sophia was ordered to publicly apologize and destroy all remaining private content she had obtained without consent. The verdicts were decisive, but the repercussions extended far beyond the courtroom. The judge took the unprecedented step of ordering an investigation into Sophia's legal team for their role in fabricating evidence and obstructing justice. Several members of her team faced charges of perjury and misconduct, adding another layer of accountability to the case. For Sophia, the consequences were severe. The court sentenced her to 6 years in prison, citing her abuse of influence, falsification of evidence, and invasion of privacy as aggravating factors. It was a dramatic fall from grace for someone once celebrated as an icon of wellness and empowerment. The sentencing sent shockwaves through the influencer world, where many had long believed that fame and connections offered immunity from accountability. As Sophia was led away in handcuffs, the courtroom erupted in a mix of cheers and stunned silence. For her detractors, it was a moment of vindication. For her remaining supporters, it was a sobering reminder of the consequences of blind loyalty. On social media, hashtags like #JusticeForAlex and #VictoryForMichael dominated trends, while commentators analyzed the broader implications of the case. The legal rulings also had ripple effects across the influencer industry. Brands and sponsors that had once partnered with Sophia scrambled to distance themselves, issuing statements condemning her actions and reaffirming their commitment to ethical practices. Influencers across platforms began re-evaluating their own behavior, wary of the potential for public backlash. The case became a turning point, sparking conversations about accountability, ethics, and the power dynamics inherent in the world of social media. For Alex, the verdict was bittersweet. While his name was cleared, the emotional toll of the battle left scars that wouldn't heal overnight. In the weeks following the trial, he launched a campaign advocating for stronger protections against false accusations, using his platform to raise awareness about the dangers of weaponized misinformation. His transparency and resilience earned him widespread respect, transforming him from a controversial critic to a symbol of justice and integrity. Michael, too, found a renewed sense of purpose. Inspired by his victory, he became a vocal advocate for digital privacy rights. Partnering with legal experts and activists, he spearheaded initiatives to strengthen laws like Law 45, ensuring that others wouldn't have to endure the same violations he had faced. His journey from victim to advocate resonated deeply with the public, cementing his status as a champion for personal rights in the digital age. Sophia's sentencing marked the end of an era. Once a towering figure in the influencer world, her downfall served as a cautionary tale about the perils of unchecked power and the consequences of prioritizing image over ethics. Her story became a stark reminder that no one is above the law, no matter how carefully curated their public persona may be. As the dust settled, the cases of Alex Mason and Michael Adams remained etched in public memory. They were more than just legal battles, they were symbols of a cultural reckoning. In a world where influence often trumps accountability, their victories stood as proof that truth and justice could prevail, even in the most unlikely circumstances. The cases of Alex Mason and Michael Adams against Sophia Ramirez became emblematic of a broader cultural reckoning. In an age where influence often shielded the powerful from accountability, their victories highlighted the importance of truth and integrity in the digital landscape. Sophia's rise and fall served as a stark reminder of the perils of unchecked power and the consequences of prioritizing personal gain over ethical behavior. For Alex, the journey was transformative. Once viewed as a polarizing figure, he emerged as a respected advocate for accountability in media. His transparency throughout the ordeal inspired others to stand firm against false allegations, and his campaign for stronger legal protections gained momentum, influencing policy discussions worldwide. Michael, too, found new purpose in his advocacy for digital privacy rights. His victory under Law 45 set a legal precedent, encouraging others to confront the misuse of personal information. Partnering with activists, he spearheaded initiatives to educate individuals on protecting their digital lives. Sophia's sentencing marked a turning point in the influencer world. Her story became a cautionary tale, reminding all that influence does not place anyone above the law. Ultimately, justice prevailed, proving that even in a world driven by appearances, truth has the power to endure.
I hope you enjoyed this story. I'm sure you'll also love the next one. Click on the video on the screen right now, and don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more videos like this in the future. Thank you for watching until the end. See you soon.